Now I want to explain you how to learn grammar in the most effective way. The first concept I want to introduce you to is learning the grammar first, which is most similar to Western grammar. Because when you're trying to make a Korean sentence, usually you can choose between different Korean grammar to transfer the same meaning. So your focus should be transferring the meaning, and the grammar that you use to do that doesn't matter to you because you focus on the meaning, not on the grammar. We show you similar grammars which can be applied in the same situation, but that will be covered later in this course. So right now, by knowing this concept, you can already try it out, and later we will go more into detail. The next concept I want to introduce you is in making short sentences. So instead of making one long sentence, you should make two short sentences. Because it's so much easier for the brain to make a mental break and divide them into two short sentences. Let's make an example here. 이 커피 마시는데 너무 비싸요. This is the long version of the sentence. 이 means this, 커피 means coffee, 데 means delicious but, 너무 means too, and 비싸요 expensive. So don't be afraid of the sentence. I will break it now into two pieces. 이 커피 맛있어요. 그런데 너무 비싸요. This coffee is delicious, but it's too expensive. So 이 means this, 커피 means coffee, 맛있어요 means delicious, 그런데 means but, 너무 means too, 비싸요 means expensive. So when you think in your head in English sentence and you want to speak in Korean, like this coffee is delicious but it's too expensive, think in your brain in two short sentences. This coffee is delicious. 이 커피 맛있어요. Then you can make a break while speaking, and then you think of, but it's too expensive. Then you make the sentence, 그런데 너무 비싸요. So it's so much easier because you can say a short sentence, you can make a mental break, form the second short sentence in a conversation, and it will all sound natural. And this brings me directly to the next concept, which is using connectors instead of particles. The connector here is 그런데, which basically connects two sentences together. So particle works like you add like the 는데 to the 맛있어요, and then you cut the ending 있어요, and then very complicated for us Westerners and for beginners especially. So what we can do is that we just make 맛있어요, because that's quite easy to make this conjugation, and then we make just a second sentence with 그런데, and there we connect those two sentences. And this is so much easier than being in a conversation and thinking about, oh, how do I conjugate 맛있어요, 맛있다 with 는데. You never have time for this in the conversation. You just make two short sentences and that's it. And if you progress further in your Korean language journey, you can slowly add the connectors. You can slowly use the particles to connect two short sentences to one long sentence. Also, this is extremely powerful because of the different sentence structure in Korean language. If you want to make this sentence in Korean, I stayed at home yesterday because I was tired, then it would be like 어제 피곤해서 집에 있었어요. And that's very difficult because the sentence structure in words. So one by one translated, it would be yesterday, tired, so home, stayed. And here comes the trick that if we make two short sentences, then we can keep the Western sentence structure. Then we can just swap the sentences. 어제 피곤했어요. 그래서 집에 있었어요. I was tired yesterday, so I stayed at home. It's incredibly much easier for our brain to swap two short sentences instead of swapping them, connecting them, and all of that together. So in your brain, you can just think of two sentences and swap them. I was tired yesterday, so I stayed at home. 어제 피곤했어요. 그래서 집에 있었어요. So much easier for a beginner to start with, and later, far much later, you can start connecting them together, because you have to make two things at the same time: swapping, sentence order, plus connecting, cutting the audio, connecting with the so, and it's too much in the beginning. Just make two short sentences and swap them. Next concept I'm going to explain you is replacing verbs and adjectives with other ones which are much far easier to conjugate. So we have here 집에서 공부했어요 and 집에서 배웠어요 is home, and 공부 is studied, and 배웠어요 is learned. So those two verbs mean basically the same thing. If you're talking with somebody and you want to get the meaning transferred, then if you use one of those, it's exactly the same. But 배우다, 배웠어요 is far more complicated to conjugate than 공부하다, because 공부하다 is a verb that ends with 하다. Those words are very common in Korean language. You will see them all the time, and once you know how to conjugate one of them, you know all of them. So just learn the past form one single time, 했어요, and you can use it every time. So what I want you to do is, when you try to speak Korean, try to replace words which are too complicated for you with easy to use words. And also a very short trick I want to show you in this example is thinking of particles like words and not as particles. Like here in this example, 집에서 공부했어요. 집 is home, 에서 means at, and 공부했어요 means studied. So I want you to think of 집 as one word, home, and 에서, the particle, like the second word, like at. So it means like home, at, studied. So for us Westerners, because we don't have particles, it's much easier to think of particles as just words. So that's it for this video. I introduced you to the most effective strategies into mastering Korean grammar, and I want you to slowly introduce them into your language learning process, so you can find out which one works for you the best, and then slowly implementing other ones. And I promise you, once you mastered all of them, implemented all of them, your language learning speed will be so much quicker. Just because it's so much easier to make an actual sentence, you learn a language much faster by making a sentence. So I hope this makes sense. And once you tried it out, I'll see you in the next video.